The world reacted with horror when news broke of how American dentist Walter Palmer shot, tracked, and killed Zimbabwe's beloved Cecil, the lion. But did you know that big game hunting is also big business right here in Canada, with public hunts permitted for polar bear, musk, ox, and moose? With a look at Canada's big game hunts, environmental consultant Ernie Cooper joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So tell us, Ernie, what makes public hunting, big game in Canada, different here than in other countries?
I think the level of management, for one thing. Canadian authorities take management of wildlife pretty seriously and work hard to make sure that hunting is done in sustainable levels and well managed and well enforced. We don't have the levels of, for instance, corruption in Canada that you have in some third world countries that unfortunately exacerbates the problems of illegal hunting and poaching.
Yeah, and I want to talk about the Cecil situation a little bit, because obviously that was illegal, but there seems to be separate issues here, and I want you to speak to them. And with Cecil, I would think it taps into the humane issue, but there's also conservation, emotional stuff as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. There are three different considerations when you're talking about sport hunting, trophy hunting. One is the conservation impact, and if you look at it in Canada, for instance, sport hunting for the most part is sustainable and managed and not a concern from a conservation standpoint. The other issue, though, is whether or not, well, you like sport hunting, and there are a lot of people who don't like sport hunting. They don't particularly like trophy hunting, and that's a personal opinion. On the other hand, you have a strong contingent of people who do enjoy hunting, do support hunting, do enjoy trophy hunting, and I don't think that those two different opinions are going to change. One group isn't going to change the other groups. Now, the humane issue is a bit more tricky. Certainly when you look at the hunting of this lion in Africa, the fact that it was bow hunted and it took 40 hours of tracking before the animal was finally put down, that doesn't sit well with a lot of people.
No, it does not. There's been outrage, in fact, right across the world. Coming back to this country, though, and I want to focus in now on the Inuit communities and the polar bear licenses that are sometimes sold by communities to hunters. What happens there?
Well, yeah, there are certain jurisdictions in Canada that do allow sport hunting. All of the polar bear hunting in Canada is subsistence hunting, but some jurisdictions do allow a small number of those hunts to be allocated to sport hunters. But a sport hunter then has to hire a local guide and pay a fair amount of money. That all goes to the community. So the communities benefit by reallocating those subsistence hunts to sport hunting. But sport hunting of polar bears in Canada is a small fraction of the number of bears that are killed for subsistence purposes.
Is there anything on your radar with regards to conservation and anything that you'd like to see changed?
Well, the most important thing I would like to see come out of the outrage over this killing of this lion in Zimbabwe is greater concern and more to be done about the plight of African lions and their conservation. Lions across Africa are declining in numbers, and there's a fair amount of concern about that. That's where I think things really need to change. We don't want African lions to eventually become endangered.
Ernie Cooper, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.